Hey Biscuit, so what do you think about the Cinewhoop? Biscuit? Cinewhoop? Any opinions? No? So Biscuit doesn't seem to be very interested in a Cinewhoop, but personally I have to say I think it's really cool. This thing is starting to grow on me, really cool quad, so let's take it inside and have a closer look at how I managed to get the DJI FPV unit in this cheap little Banggood kit. Alright, now this is my nice little DIY Cinewhoop DJI thing up close. As already mentioned, this is just a super cheap Banggood kit, the donut kit. It's sort of a no-name generic product, but it's actually a pretty decent set. I mean, it's $110. You get a 20 by 20 diatone member stack. This is the 25 amp 4S rated version. This is a pretty solid stack, and you see I've been using a bunch of those, never had any issues. You get 1408, 3500 kV gap RC motors, which are pretty good motors. Not the newest, but they are absolutely fine on this type of quad, in my opinion. You get some dowel props that are specifically designed to work in these sort of ducts. Then that's pretty much all you get. GoPro mount comes with this kit with $410. This is pretty solid, and I mean, it fits the unit pretty much perfectly. So this is just a generic DJI unit, which is, I don't think this is a very good design or a very good job DJI did, although the performance is amazing, but this sort of aluminum box they put it in doesn't have any mounts. As you can see, there's nothing, no threads, nothing to just properly mount this thing. You're just left to zip tie it in your quad. That's just ridiculous for the amount of money they probably put into developing this thing. I can only assume that the guys developing this unit were not the guys developing the frames, and that they just didn't put any thought into how you actually properly integrate this in an FPV frame. But I'm getting off topic here. Now, it fits if you just zip tie it inside here, no problem. I just had to make sure the stack is low enough, but the stack comes with pretty cool hardware that makes it possible to have it low enough. I had to, I mean, the DJI camera here, which is another super annoying thing they did. While most micro cameras or all micro cameras are 90 millimeters wide, this one is 20 millimeters wide, so just 1 millimeter more. And I mean, honestly, I think they did that on purpose too, to just make it impossible to put this in most frames. But I just removed a slight bit of material from the carbon plates here. You don't need to remove much, so that I could fit it. That wasn't any problem. Now, yeah, and it worked pretty well. The angle of the antennas isn't perfect, but they're kind of nicely held here between the frame and the duct. So this is pretty cool. The angle is okay. They actually need to be at pretty much perfectly 60 degrees to work very well. So it wasn't perfect. So I could see that my signal wasn't as good as with properly mounted antennas at 60 degrees. But for Cinewhoop, it was honestly good enough. But now, now the real problem, and that's these ducts here. They are, I think they are printed out of material that is of a pretty horrible color. This orange just looks super cheap, and they are super thin and just falling apart, so not the best print settings. You can see the layer adhesion here is just not very good. I can just basically tear this apart without any issues. I didn't even crash this thing. I didn't crash this. It's just falling apart. I basically just bumped into stuff, so that's absolutely ridiculous. And of course, they don't sell spare ducts, or I couldn't find any. Maybe I missed it, but they don't seem to sell spare ducts, which that's just stupid. Why would you do that? Then at least please put this goddamn file on Thingiverse so we can print spare ducts and don't have to buy a spare frame for $30 and just replace the whole thing. That's so silly. But so I mean, of course, what I did is just go into Fusion 360 and make my own ducts here. New design, I mean, quite similar to those, but just way thicker, way more robust. So I think these should hold up. These are printed out of G-Tech PLA+, so nice and stiff. And also I designed a proper antenna mount that will also integrate the receiver antennas of my FreeSky RXSR, and I sort of redesigned the here it is. I sort of redesigned the GoPro mount because I had some jello in the footage, which was a bit annoying. I mean, I wasn't using an ND filter, and I should use an ND filter, but still add some jello. So I sort of made a soft mounted GoPro mount, as you can see. I'll remove this so I can properly get this in focus. It's pretty thin TPU material here, so it's all kind of soft, and I hope that this will absorb some of the vibrations that are caused by the quad. So let me just quickly put these new ducts on the quad and show you how it looks. But first, before we do this, let's check the weight. Let's see how much weight I will add, because I honestly have no idea how much weight my new ducts will add. So I'm gonna get the XT60 on there. 245 grams, so let's just remember this for later. And I'll throw on the new ducts. Ta-da! Here it is. I think this looks way better now. I don't want to compliment myself too much, but I think the optics of this thing and probably also the functionality improved a lot now. These are way more robust than the old cheap crappy ducts here. So big improvement. The antenna mount fits nicely. I mean, of course, I went to 2 or 3 iterations of this until it perfectly fit. This is not the first time I'm test mounting the antenna. Receiver antennas too. I really like it now. Really cool quad. Saved me a bit of money compared to getting the iFlight. I mean, of course, this still isn't cheap because of this unit. It is 160 euros. So 160 plus 110 for, I'm mixing up euros and dollars, I think here, but roughly 100 plus 160, 260 instead of almost 400 for the iFlight. No, 410 with a receiver, 410 for an iFlight. So still only a bit more than half the price, this DIY kit. And of course, guys, I will put all of this stuff up on Thingiverse so you can build your own or just get some spare ducts for your donut Cinewhoop frame if you like. Alright guys, I hope you found this interesting and useful, and of course don't forget to subscribe so you stay updated on all the stuff I will come up with next. I have some pretty interesting things in the pipeline, including my micro long range project where I will be testing again tomorrow. Alright guys, thanks for watching. When I forgot one thing, I didn't put this back on the scale, so moment of truth. And I know that I added a bunch of weight here. So it's 200 and I don't know if you can see it, it's 290 grams now. So I added 45 extra grams, which is, I mean, that's mostly the ducts. The TPU pumps won't be that heavy. I just wanted to print them at 100% infill because I don't want to have to change them anytime soon. You can reduce the infill of those and just make them much lighter. They also work with 20% infill without issues. Then you should be pretty much around the same weight these cheap, very thin ones have. And should be good to go. And anyways, in my opinion, weight doesn't matter too much on these Cinewhoops. They are pretty much only floating around, and that's the whole point of it. So I don't care very much about thrust to weight ratio on those, as long as they control well and are stable and don't have vibration that is messing up my video footage. Alright guys, now this is really the end of this video. Bye.